Hi Skype friends, welcome back to my channel. Virginia here with a new project to share with you. And this is my first project for the design team of Bramble Fox, which I just joined. And I'm very happy and excited to be playing more with those beautiful acrylic pieces and hopefully to inspire you to do the same. So this layout is dedicated to my creative hobbies, in particular scrapbooking, and I'm going to use this photo of myself at a trade show here in Barcelona dedicated to the do-it-yourself and handmade activities. And I'm going to use some beautiful papers of the collection Crafty Girl by Simple Stories. This is the old one. Now currently there's a new one called Hey Crafty Girl, and I'm using these wonderful acrylic pieces, these yellow bulbs. Since I saw them, I immediately thought that I wanted to create a layout representing a sort of room, we might say, like my creative space, and all these bulbs, these lamps hanging from the ceiling. Of course, I don't have 5 lamps in my room, but the idea, I like this idea. So I'm going to place them a little bit scattered in the center, and on the top, I'm going to put 2 strips of this paper that I just tore, and these are going to be sort of silly. I really love them. For my picture as a frame, I'm going to use this beautiful wood veneer, which is a bulb as well. And by the way, I bought these veneer bulbs exactly at the trade show. So it was a funny coincidence. I'm going to paint it because I want to give a little bit of color, and I'm using a modeling paste that is very shiny, this paste, and also I really love the texture that it adds. It's not easy to spread this paste on top of the wood veneer, in particular because of the shape and because it's a little bit thin, but I really love the effect. So I will work on it and get it done. And then once I'm done with this paste, I'm going to add more color, more shades of blue using this beautiful shiny paint, which is shimmery as well as the paste, but it's a little bit darker. And now with the brush, I'm spreading it and mixing with the paste. I'm also taking care of painting the internal part of my bulb. And once it's done, I let it to dry aside. It will take some time. Then meanwhile, I'm going to work on my background because I want to do a little bit of mixed media. My idea is to color around to paint around these bulbs, creating a sort of shape or glow around the bulbs and also around the cord or the imaginary cord from which these bulbs are hanging. So first of all, I'm painting the blue with blue around the big bulb with my picture, and I'm using some Lindy Stamsgang magical powers. These are very nice because, well, you add water to activate them and create the paint. But what's really nice is that not only they are shimmery, but also they include different pigments, in the sense that there's, of course, there's the main color, the blue, for example, but then inside you have little particles of other pigments that add a bit of shades or little points of different colors. So they are really nice. So I used this very bright, intense, beautiful blue. Now this other green that is a sort of grass green, but it's a bit more on the yellow side. Very beautiful. Then I'm going to use this red, which is a red burgundy red, that includes various shades, so it goes from the red to the pinkish or fuchsia, so all over it reads as more burgundy. I really, really love it. It's very bright and intense. And then I'll go for the yellow. By the way, I'm using a watercolor brush. This is the empty one where you put the water inside. Then you pick the pigment or the paint with the tip of the brush, and then you apply the color on the paper. My background, my background paper is not is cardstock, but it's a little bit thicker than the classic American craft cardstock. It's not watercolor paper, but still it's a bit thicker, so it can hold a little bit more water. So now I'm going on and add the yellow. This is very bright, very intense. I really love this yellow. And for the other lamp, I'm mixing this magical powder with a little bit of fossilized amber distress oxide to make it a little bit darker. And then also mixing in a little bit of the red, you see, creates a little bit of darker shades. And now I'm adding splashes all around the bulbs or the lamps. I'm going sort of color on color, but I'm not being really precise. I'm using in the end all the colors everywhere on my background. And I really like how this is turning out, because I think these colors are wonderful. And I wanted really a bright, colorful layout, because this is about my creative and artsy hobbies. So it's really the place for color. Now I'm dabbing up a little bit the excess of water. I left it to dry a little bit, and you can see that all the water were really well. Only in the blue part where I really added a lot of water, the paper warped a little bit, but that is not a problem. We are not going to see it anyway, because I'm going to glue my photo on top of it. And now I'm gluing down the torn paper, and I'm ruffling up a little bit the edges, because I really like that effect. This really looks like wallpaper, in particular the blue one with all the flowers, but both of them. So this also gave me the idea of creating this sort of scene as a room with all these lamps hanging from the ceiling. I really like this effect. Now I'm cutting an extra bit, and I'm keeping ruffling the edges. Now it's time to glue down my acrylic pieces. Before gluing them down, you have to remove the film, the protective film that they have on their back. And you can certainly glue them down with liquid glue, but I'm using my double face tape just because it was there next to me. But I have to cut, of course, a lot of little pieces, but it's fine, it's not a big deal. So I'm placing my bulb in the center of the sort of glow of color splash that I created. And before gluing down the blue one with my picture, I'm going to stitch a little bit. Yes, I love stitching in my projects. It's something that you already know if you follow me, if you have seen other of my videos. And here I'm going to create with embroidery floss some simple lines that represents the cords from which these lamps or these bulbs are hanging. And I'm using a chain stitch, first because it's very beautiful, it's very decorative, and also because it's a little bit bigger, so it's better than a simple running stitch to represent the cords of my lamps. So I'm using embroidery floss in coordinating color. I'm going with my tone on tone. So I'm using two shades of yellow, one a little bit more orange than the other, blue, a green, and a dark burgundy red. So here it is, I finished my stitching. I really love the effect of the stitching on top of the color and the idea of having these bulbs hanging from the stitched cord. Now it's time to cut my picture and attach it to the frame that I have previously painted. So I'm using this other wood veneer, bulb veneer. It's not the same, of course, it's another one because I have more than one. While the one that I painted was drying, I used this one to trace the shape on the picture, and so I could cut it, and now I can go on and stick it to the back of my frame. In this case, I'm using white glue, normal stationary white glue. And I'm going to set it as center as I can. I don't want to cover myself, of course, and neither the name Creativa or the trade show. So I glued it down, and I also added a little bow with a little bit of embroidery floss because there was this hole on the top, and I really felt that I had to fill it in with some thread, and I really like the effect in the end. Now I'm fussy cutting a bunch of those little flowers from the same paper that I have on the top, and also some bigger flower that was on one of the cut apart cards included in the other paper. And I'm going to place them, to sprinkle them all around, place the big one around my big bulb and the little one around my acrylic pieces, my wonderful acrylic pieces. And I also fussy cut these words that are all related with do it yourself and the creativity, creative hobbies that were in another of those cards. The words are glue, craft, create, paint, make, enjoy, cut, and scrap, of course. And here again, I'm trying to go color on color, but I don't have words in yellow, so on the first cord I'm going to put glue, since this is the one that I painted with a darker yellow. And then you will see that I will paint the word make in yellow. While around the big bulb, I'm also adding other words without caring too much about the color. So I've just attached the one of the big flowers on partially on top of my wood veneer, and since it's quite thick, I had to create some thickness with a couple of layers of adhesive foam to support it and to glue it to the cardstock, to anchor it to the cardstock. And now I'm gluing down also the words, and I'm using just one layer of adhesive foam for this. And also I think at this point I have already attached all the little cluster of flowers or a part of them. And for the cluster of flowers I'm just going to use normal white glue. At this point, I've glued down everything. I'm missing my title, which is going to be Let's Create Together. And for this title, I'm going to use these foam letters, which I love, are the perfect size. And these are from a Page Evans collection. In order to anchor them somewhere and not let them float around, I'm going to create a sort of chains or banners connecting three of the lamps, and the letter will be set on top of it, so as they are anchored or to this stitched chain. So for the first one, I used the beautiful yellow bright stitching thread, and that's going to be Let's Create, the first part of my title. And then for together, I'm going to stitch with the blue, the same blue of the big bulb. Since I want this together, that is in white, to stand out more, I'm going to paint it in yellow using a watercolor brush. In this case, it's not the one which comes empty. This has already the yellow paint inside. I have a few of them. They are really practical if you want quickly to add a little bit of color or paint something. So this finishes up my layout. I really hope that you like it. I had a lot of fun creating it, and I really love how it turned out with all these bright colors. If you like this video, please give me a thumb up and also consider subscribing to my channel if you are not yet a subscriber. Also go on and have a look at the beautiful acrylic pieces on the Bramble shop. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!